Bonjour everyone. If you want to speak even a tiny bit of French, there's one verb you simply can't avoid, and this one is être. It means to be, and you'll say it to say, who you are, where you are, how you feel, and what someone or something is like. In other words, it does quite a lot of heavy lifting. Well, être is irregular, and this means its forms don't follow one neat, predictable pattern. But don't panic, by the end of this video, you'll know every present tense form, how to pronounce it, and how to use it in natural, everyday sentences. Let's dive in. So, whether you want to say je suis anglais, I'm English, elle est sympa, she's nice, or nous sommes prêts, we are ready, you are exactly in the right place.
Signification, meaning.
First of all, être means to be. The little roof-shaped accent en français over the first E is called a circumflex. The infinitive is simply the basic, unconjugated form of a verb, like to be in English. Sorry for stuttering today. Now, just think about your everyday life, how often you use to be. I'm tired, you're late, she is French, we at home. French uses être in all these situations too. That said, you can't normally place être directly after every subject, just as English changes to be into I am, you are, and he is. French changes être to match the person or group doing the being. That change is called conjugation. Nothing new. Unlike many regular French verbs, être doesn't follow a standard set of endings because it's irregular as I already mentioned. That's why it's called irregular. Essentially, you need to learn its forms as a group. This is easier to remember, and the good news is that they are short, extremely common and much easier to remember once you start using them.
Conjugaison, conjugation.
Right here is the complete present tense conjugation. Je suis, I am. Tu es, you are. Il est, he is or it is. Elle est, she is or it is. On est, we are. One is or people are. Nous sommes, we are. Vous êtes, you are. And elles sont, they are for a masculine or mixed group. And elles sont, they are for an all-feminine group. So each form matches a particular subject pronoun. You wouldn't say j'ai any more than you'd say I is in English. You say I am, so you say in French je suis. With that in mind, let's look at every form individually.
Je suis, I am.
As already mentioned, je suis means I am, and the final S in suis is normally silent. For example, je suis français means I am French, said by a man or boy. A woman or girl would normally say je suis français, with an extra feminine ending in writing. You can also say je suis étudiant, I am a student, or je suis étudiant if the speaker is female. And please notice that French usually doesn't use un or une, meaning of course, when stating someone's profession directly after être. So, je suis professeur means I'm a teacher, not literally I am teacher in natural English. Meanwhile, je suis fatigué means I'm tired, and je suis à la maison means I am at home. In everyday spoken French, je suis is sometimes shortened. As a beginner, though, it's absolutely fine and clearer to pronounce both words fully.
Tu es, you are.
Next one, we have tu es means you are when speaking to one person you know very well. You might say tu es gentil, you are kind, or tu es gentil when speaking to a female. You could also ask tu es prêt, are you ready, or tu es prêt when speaking to a woman or girl. Here's the useful bit. Tu is informal and singular. You use it with a friend, a family member, a child, or someone who has invited you to use tu or even your pet. However, French social habits can vary a lot. If you're unsure whether to use tu or vous with an adult you don't know, vous is generally the safer choice. You always can switch to tu later.
Il, elle est, he, she is. is.
Now, il est means he is or sometimes it is, while elle est means she is or sometimes it is. Both forms use e, its final s, and t are silent. Il est drôle means he is funny. Elle est drôle means she is funny. Similarly, il est à Paris means he is in Paris, and elle est au travail means she's at work. French nouns have grammatical gender, so il and elle can also refer to things. For example, le livre, the book, is masculine. So you might say, il est intéressant, it's interesting. La voiture, the car, is feminine, so you could say, elle est rapide, it's fast. More importantly, the choice between il and elle depends on the gender of the French noun. Of course, not on whether the object has a biological sex. Your French table isn't secretly a woman. Table is simply a feminine noun. La table.
On est, we are.
Moving on is one of the most useful combinations in spoken French. Strictly speaking, on can mean one, someone, or people in general. For example, en France, on parle français. Means in France, people speak French. In practice, French speakers very commonly use on to mean we in everyday conversation. On est prêt means, for example, we are ready, and on est à Londres means we are in London. By contrast, nous sommes also means we are, but it can sound slightly more formal or deliberate in casual speech. So, well, you'll still hear it, of course, but on est is often the natural conversation choice. So if you want to sound more native, then of course, never say nous sommes. One useful detail is that even when on means several people, the verb stays singular. Always on est, never en sont. But it's nous sommes.
Nous sommes, we are.
As you know, nous sommes means we are, and the final s in sommes is silent. For example, nous sommes amis means we are friends. Nous sommes en vacances means we are on holiday, and nous sommes ici means we are here. That said, nous sommes is still completely correct and useful. You'll see it frequently in written French, presentations, announcements, and situations where the speaker wants to emphasize we. So you might hear on est content in a relaxed chat, but read nous sommes heureux de vous accueillir, meaning we are delighted to welcome you in a very formal setting.
Vous êtes, you are.
Next comes vous êtes, meaning you are. You use vous êtes when speaking to more than one person, no matter how well you know them. For example, vous êtes prêt means are you ready when addressing a group. You also use it when speaking politely or formally to one person. Vous êtes très gentil means you are very kind, said politely to a man. On the other hand, when addressing a woman, it becomes vous êtes très gentil. On top of that, vous êtes en retard means you're late, and vous êtes d'où means where you're from. Remember, tu es is for one person informally, vous êtes is for one person formally or politely, and for any group. That distinction matters, but don't worry if you occasionally choose the wrong one while learning. I mean, at least you can speak French. Not everyone can do that, so it's totally fine to make mistakes. It's the best and only way to learn. A polite tone and a smile can rescue quite a lot.
Ils, elles sont, they are.
Now we reach the plural forms. Elles sont means they are for a group of males or mixed gender groups. Elles sont means they are for a group made up entirely of females. In sont, the final T is silent as it is mostly in French, and the vowel is nasal. For example, elles sont français means they are French, referring to men, boys, or a mixed group, and elles sont françaises means the same thing for an all-female group. Likewise, elles sont au café means they are at the cafe, while elles sont occupées means they are busy, referring only to women or girls. As you might expect, spelling may change to match gender and number, even when some endings aren't strongly heard in speech. For now, just focus on choosing ils sont or elles sont correctly.
Usage quotidien, everyday use.
So, big question, when do we actually use être? First, it describes identity. Je suis Léa, I am Léa, or c'est Paul, it's Paul. It also describes nationality. Elle est espagnol means he's Spanish, and elle est canadien means she's Canadian. Nationality words usually change to match the person's gender. For professions, you can say elle est médecin, she's a doctor, or nous sommes étudiants, we are students. As we saw earlier, French normally leaves out a or n in this structure. Meanwhile, personality descriptions also use être. Tu es patient means you are patient. Ils sont sympathiques means they are nice. For physical conditions and temporary states, you might say je suis malade, I am ill, on est fatigué, we are tired, or vous êtes occupé, are you busy? Location works with être too. Le téléphone est sur la table means the telephone is on the table, and nous sommes à l'hôtel means we are at the hotel. Having said that, French doesn't always use être where English uses to be. Age is a classic example. In English you say I'm 20, but French uses avoir, meaning to have. So I have 25 years old. Weird, but this is the way they say it. So j'ai 20 ans, literally I have 20 years, means I am 20 years old. The same happens with several common expressions like j'ai faim means I'm hungry, literally I have hunger, j'ai soif means I'm thirsty, j'ai chaud means I'm hot, and j'ai froid means I'm cold. To put that another way, don't translate every English sentence word for word. Je suis faim is incorrect, say j'ai faim. Important pronunciation tips. Before we move on, let's tidy up a few pronunciation details. Many final consonants in these forms are silent, and you don't pronounce the final S in suis, et, or sont, and you don't pronounce the final T in e or sont. At the same time, words often connect smoothly when the next word begins with a vowel. Finally, sont meaning are sounds the same as sont, meaning his, her, or its. The spelling and context tell you which one is meant.
Erreur de débutant. Beginner mistakes.
One frequent mistake is using the infinitive after a subject, such as j'ai être. French needs the conjugated form, of course, je suis. Another is mixing forms and pronouns. Avoid nous sommes or ils sont. It's nous sommes and ils sont. Then there's tu and vous. Don't say tu es or vous êtes. The correct pairs are tu es and vous êtes. Also, watch out for English expressions with avoir. I'm 20 is j'ai 20 ans, not je suis 20 ans. And I'm hungry is j'ai faim, not je suis faim. Lastly, remember that on takes a singular verb even when it means we say on est, never ensemble or ensemble.
Astuce pour la mémoire. Memory tricks.
The easiest way to remember the conjugation is to learn it aloud in 3 small chunks. Let's start with je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, on est, because it's almost the same. And then you can move on to nous sommes, vous êtes, and finally the plural forms ils sont and elles sont. The good news is that several forms share the same verb as already mentioned. Tu es, il est, elle est, and on est all have the short sound. And then remember the 3 especially distinctive forms suis, sont, and être. More importantly, learn complete mini sentences. This is always easier instead of isolated words. Je suis prêt. On est ici. Vous êtes sympa. Ils sont en retard. Context always gives your memory something useful to hold on to. Congrats, you can now use être to talk about identity, nationality, profession, personality, condition, location, and temporary states. Just remember that age, hunger, thirst, and feeling hot or cold normally use avoir instead. And yeah, as always, I've created a handout that covers literally everything we learned today, plus, as always, 10 practice exercises. So yeah, you'll find the link in the description below. And if you want to learn how to use subject pronouns, just click right here. À bientôt.